following program is paid for and presented by John DeMasi. The opinions expressed are not those of Town Square Media or station advertisers.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Happy early St. Patrick's Day. I was going to do this show in an Irish accent, but I figured by about 9:15 that would be old news. So I just scratched that. I figured just say happy St. Patrick's Day, all right? We're all Irish, and I'm wearing green today. So Chris didn't get the memo, so he's not wearing green. But anyway, good morning and welcome to another edition of Talk with a Purpose. Every Saturday we're here, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5, also heard on 1450 AM, and always online at WPGTalkRadio.com. I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you with us, as always, for our Saturday morning get-together. Grab your coffee and get ready for the ride, because it's another good one, okay? I'm sure that you're going to want to stick around, because we have a lot to talk about. Again, we're going to have 3 hours of just you and me against the world. And, of course, the number here in the studio, 609-407-1450, 609-407-1450. At any time during the course of the show, if you have a thought or a comment or whatever, feel free to chime in, 609-407-1450. Going to start the show today with a couple of things, and one's old and one's new. And, well, the old is really, it's just unbelievable. But I'm going to start with something new. And that is, I'm really happy about this, because I usually come on, complain about this, about that. But I'm happy about Congress passing the crackdown on TikTok.
Yeah, just one or two, yeah. Hang on.
You know that app that all of the young people are excited about? Well, they're about to be not excited. The House of Representatives overwhelmingly passed a measure on Wednesday to force TikTok to split with its parent company, ByteDance. Now, that's spelled BYTEDANCE. So they told them, you split with that company or you face a national ban of the popular app. You know, it's about time that somebody went after something on social media, because I have always contended, it's nice. I mean, I had my birthday this week, and people sent me birthday wishes. Some of them I didn't even know, but that's nice, okay? But for the most part, I think social media is just a harm. I mean, it just takes over. How many times do you see people? And I was in my physical therapist's office, and a guy said to me, boy, you're one of the few people in New Jersey that's not sitting there on your cell phone. Everywhere you go, people are on their cell phone, and they're checking social media. Oh, did you see that a dog bit an alligator? I don't know that's the case, but that's what I'm talking about. So this ByteDance is a Chinese company. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. If it was an American company that was doing business in China, and the Chinese people were utilizing this application, would you think that the Chinese government would allow that? Oh, no, not at all. So here we've got private briefings from national security. Law enforcement officials are serving as a call to action for Congress to finally take a stand against TikTok. What do you think? It's about time? If you care to chime in on this, feel free throughout the course of the show. And now I want to talk about something old. And I'll tell you what, I am still angry at the whole situation regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. This week, a report in the press of Atlantic City said New Jersey wasn't prepared for COVID. Really? It also said that the state remains underprepared for the next emergency. And this, according to an independent report examining New Jersey's response to the pandemic. Do you believe that? First of all, it was 3 years ago. It destroyed society. It destroyed individuals. It destroyed businesses. I mean, we could go on and on. And the illustrious Governor Murphy, he closed businesses. He closed things he shouldn't have closed. But he left liquor stores open. Unprepared. Still unprepared for a pandemic. Not that hopefully we don't have one, but you never know. Everybody's life was upended. Businesses were, as I said, businesses closed, churches closed. You couldn't go out of your house without a mask. And if you did, well, you weren't supposed to. Stay home, stay home, stay home. I mean, it was so ridiculous that really life stopped. And now they tell us if it happens again, we're unprepared. Let's see what else this report said. One quote from the article, the investigation found broad failures in leadership and management, including a systemic inability to implement clinical care policy, poor communication between management and staff, and a failure to ensure basic staff competency that let the virus spread virtually unchecked throughout the facilities. I'm sure they're talking about nursing homes, and we know that fiasco. Boy, oh boy. I hope that we never, ever, ever have another pandemic or anything like it, especially if Phil Murphy's involved. And we got another 2 years of him, unfortunately. Remember that thing that he went on? Tucker Carlson had him on Fox. Remember that? And he said, Tucker asked him, well, you closed churches. Did you think about the Bill of Rights? And Phil Murphy, with that illustrious smile of his, says, well, that's above my pay grade. The governor of a state says it's above his pay grade. Nah, close churches, close everything. Hey, I'm not affected, meaning Murphy. So what gives? Nothing. What's going to stop them again? But to see a report now, after all we learned and how we suffered, I am just now, and I'll share a personal story. I am just now beginning, I'm not at the end, beginning to recover from the pandemic. Just beginning. And this is 4 years? So it affected me. It affected a lot of businesses. Just hope that we don't have another pandemic. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. It's Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We bring in the one and only Seth Grossman, Liberty and Prosperity. Good morning, Seth, and welcome to the program.
Good morning. And some of the most important news never makes it to the news or never makes it to the paper. I'm back from Florida. Round-trip airfare on Spirit from Atlantic City to West Palm Beach was $112.50 for me.
Wow.
Last week.
Wow.
When I got back to get my car, the fee for parking for 8 days at $12 a day was $96. So the South Jersey Transportation Authority charged me almost as much just to let my car sit in the parking lot for 8 days as Spirit did to have a ticket agent greet me at the airport, get me on the plane, pay for the gas and the fuel and the flight attendants to get me there, get me off, and then take me back by return trip. Was not that much more than just having a car sit in the parking lot. So if you want to know why government and taxes and everything is so expensive in New Jersey, there's a classic example for you.
Yeah.
Another, I guess, key news event that was never news is the day after I got back on Wednesday. I don't know if you noticed it, but I was driving by Brigantine past the 5 Atlantic County Utilities Authority wind turbines, and all 5 of them were at a dead stop. There was no wind. So there was zero green energy being produced. So if we depended on wind energy, there would have been blackouts, the grid would have crashed, or the smart meters would have started shutting off power to every home, every business, every electric car charging station. But it didn't happen, and it wasn't even news, because right now wind only supplies about 8% of our total electricity. So the other 92% comes from the nuclear plant at Salem, natural gas, and coal. But, Governor Murphy and Biden and the Democrats are doing everything they can to change that, to make us more dependent on wind. And the statistics show that if Murphy and Biden get their way, and suddenly instead of having 8% of our energy coming from this unreliable wind, if it were 15, 20, 25%, the whole grid would come crashing down, or the smart meters would start turning off power. So what was just an ordinary day Wednesday would have been a catastrophe if we go along with putting hundreds of wind turbines out in the ocean and depending on it, as Biden and Murphy and the Democrats want to do. And sadly, the only real Republicans pushing back against this are Michael Testa in Cape and Cumberland County and Congressman Jeff Van Drew. Republicans really are not pushing back against it, and we pointed this out a couple weeks ago.
Boy, they're not going to give up, No, they're not. Yeah.
And all the bad stuff, I say it week after week. I won't repeat it, but it's all posted at libertyandprosperity.com. Meanwhile, when I get back, I see Chuck Schumer, the Democrat Senator for New York, is blasting the government of Israel and telling the people in Israel that they need new elections to get rid of their leaders. They need regime change. And I could just think most Israel people living there think that we need regime change here in America.
Right.
But some of the points I just want to bring up. Schumer said that Israel has to accept a 2-state solution, meaning a Palestinian state right next to a Jewish state. But that's exactly what we had. Basically, the Jews got out of Gaza. Jews got out of the Palestinian part of the West Bank 20 years ago. And all that the Palestinians did under Hamas was dig tunnels, make rockets, and teach their children that the best thing in life is to kill a Jew before you die. So in one day of a ceasefire, and basically October 7th was a ceasefire, Israel was at peace with Hamas. There were 1,500 dead from one day of a ceasefire. Meanwhile, with 5 months of war, 264 Israeli soldiers died in 5 months of war. So which is worse, 1 day of ceasefire or 5 months of war? We have to remember that. What's the purpose of a ceasefire? It's almost like Biden and Schumer want Israel to do exactly what America did in Afghanistan. And what did America do in Afghanistan? After Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda murdered 3,000 Americans in 1 day, we went into Afghanistan to go get them. But you may remember we did a ceasefire. Osama bin Laden was in a place called Tora Bora, and we just stopped. And we said, okay, well, let's talk things out. And Osama bin Laden got away. We never had any kind of justice until years later when it really didn't matter. And then what we also forget is we also surrounded this town called Kunduz. I don't know if you ever heard of the airlift of evil, but all the top terrorist leaders were in this town, and we surrounded the town. But instead of capturing them and bringing them to justice, we just let them all get away to continue the terror right up to this day. So why would we want people in Israel to do the same thing that we did that caused us nothing but disaster? We got an endless war in Afghanistan that we ended up losing. Why would we want Israel to do the same thing? But that's what's going on right now.
Boy, when you put it that way, it's really, really bad, really bad.
And by the way, Hamas is not even a Palestinian group. The very name Hamas means Harakat Mukawama al-Islamiyah, which means the movement for continual war for Islam. So the target is the Jews today, but once they get all of Israel, they're not going to say, okay, we have all of Israel, we're going to go home and quit now. This is a worldwide movement that wants supremacy. They're part of that Wahhabi cult that has been doing this in India during those Bengal Lantern movies. They were doing it in Arabia. They've been doing this for 300 years, and we have to recognize it. And it's almost comical when I guess it was Schumer said we need a ceasefire for the Islamic holiday of Ramadan, and the whole purpose of Ramadan, it's a holiday that celebrates conquest, war, and jihad. So when they say, oh, it's a shame we have war on this holiday of Ramadan, well, that's the whole purpose of the holiday. But of course, few people understand that in America today.
Do you have anything else to talk about today?
Oh, just a couple of things. I'm looking at my notes here. The Stanley Homes Village, the miserable conditions there, where there's no heat, the people are homeless, and of course the easy issue or the short issue is to say, oh, we got to have the government really messed up at this public housing in Atlantic City, and we really have to make public housing better. But that's really not the problem. The real problem is, why do people in America today have to live in housing run by the government? When you and I were growing up in the 60s, they would tell you that you should not be spending more than 25% of your income for housing. And everybody could find housing for 25% of their income back then. So what changed since 1965 to make it so housing is no longer affordable for anybody? So I think most people are paying anywhere from 40, 50, 60% of their income for housing. Well, we have real estate taxes. We had rent control that made landlords pay for all this extra paperwork. We had these laws that made it impossible for landlords to evict bad tenants who were destroying property or not paying their rent. We had these zoning laws and building codes that made people build all sorts of extra stuff to make housing more expensive than, that had nothing to do with safety. You would talk to these builders, they'd tell you that it would cost them to cost them $60,000 to build a house. They tell you that at least half of that was just for permits and paperwork. So So the government made housing unaffordable, and then the government tries to fix things by saying, well, government's going to now give you the housing. But when government gives you the housing, it's going to be more expensive, and they're accountable to nobody. At least when you buy a house or you rent a house, if the landlord doesn't give you what you want, you either move somewhere else or you stop paying rent. When the government is running the housing, there's no incentive for the people in charge to take care of you. And forget about housing. It seems like everything the government touches, it makes unaffordable. Remember college? We didn't have student loans in the 1960s.
No way.
You went for a year.
Yeah.
You went for a year of college. It was $800-900,
Yep.
and you could make that much working a summer on the boardwalk.
That's right.
When the health insurance was not expensive, doctors would come to your house, a $2 house call. My dad was a dentist. He was charging $2 for a filling right up to the 1970s. But then the government makes medical care affordable, and suddenly it's not affordable.
Yeah.
And then the quality goes down. Same thing with buses and trains with New Jersey Transit. We had all these bus companies. You could afford to take a bus anywhere. Now you only have one bus company, New Jersey Transit, socialist company, owned and run by the government. So I think we got to go, instead of saying, well, how can we make the government do a better job of doing housing, of doing college, of doing all these other things, we have to say, we don't have to come up with any new ideas. Look at where we were in 1965 and just start doing what we did then and make it work again. Even when you talk about election integrity, how did we run elections in 1965? It's not rocket science. And so I think that's why we baby boomers, while we're still alive and have this wisdom and knowledge and experience, we got to tell our kids what's going on. And frankly, that's one of the main purposes of libertyandprosperity.com.
I want to get your take on this housing authority and the guy who was given a contract. First of all, he was charged, or he was charging them $500,000 a year, and he wasn't doing his job. And then he's up for contract renewal. What do you think about that, and how could we prevent that?
Well, that's socialism, and you can't prevent that. When you have government or politicians running your life, then they get rewarded by getting people elected, by giving donations, by taking care of politicians. And our founding fathers knew this. They said you will never make government honest. Benjamin Franklin said government attracts the wrong people for the wrong reasons. He said it attracts people with avarice and ambition, people who want money, power, greed. In fact, one of our members, Dave Goloff, pointed out that government politics attracts psychopaths the same way that the priesthood and the Boy Scouts attracted pedophiles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in the nature of... So what can you do about it? Well, you have to limit government to as few things as possible. And that's why we have written constitution. That's the genius of our founding fathers. So you don't... If you need a house, you don't go to the government for a house. You buy a house.
Yeah.
Or you have a landlord give it to you. But... you could say, how many times have you heard politicians saying, well, all the politicians are stupid and corrupt, vote for me, and I'm going to do a better job? It never works out that way.
No.
And because if you do a good job, all you do is you make everybody angry because you're saying people want favors and you say no. So if you say no to enough people, you never get elected again, right?
Yeah.
And that great Italian Wilfredo Pareto, caused that. He called that political economy. That when people are corrupt or use politics for the wrong reason, they're richly rewarded for it. But if people fight to try to keep the government honest, they just save $1 or 50 cents, and it's not worth it for them. So eventually, the bad people drive out the good. So I know people don't want to hear that. And on the short term, sure, you want to fire bad officials. But the real problem is that the government has made owning a home or renting a home unaffordable. And because it's unaffordable, people want cheap housing from the government. And once you have the government provide it, whether you do a good job or a bad job in government doesn't matter. It's who you know, who you helped get elected. I do you a favor, you do me a favor. And America was never like that. America was always a country where if you wanted money, you had to do a job for somebody. You had to sell something that somebody wanted. And that was called the free economy, which our kids have been taught to hate. The kids use this phony communist word called capitalism. But it's not capitalism. It's really the freedom to say, I don't get paid unless I do something that you want from me. And I'm not entitled to anything. I have to produce if I want something. So that's the American culture that we want to bring back. And almost every message of liberty and prosperity is just that. If you want prosperity, you got to leave people free to produce what they want to produce, what they can produce, and to get rewarded for their good decisions. So I didn't mean to give you a sermon. You got me on a side thing.
That's all right. That's all right.
All right. Just the last couple things. I was reading, doing two things over the past couple of days. I was doing my income tax, and I was reading Ronald Reagan's biography. And I didn't realize it, but it was really Richard Nixon who screwed up our income tax system royally. Because when you're doing your income tax, it used to be if you paid too much money to the government, you would get a refund back. And that was because, you thought you owed a lot of taxes, but your taxes weren't as high as you thought. You get a refund back. Richard Nixon started a whole system of tax credits where the word tax credit means nothing. Because you would think that if, say, someone files their income tax and they get $20,000 in child care or child tax credits, you would think that they would have owed, say, $30,000 in taxes, and because they had children and the children had daycare, they're getting some of their tax money back. What we don't understand is very often you'll have somebody will only have $1,500 of total income. They owe $200 in taxes, but they get $20,000 in tax refunds. Well, how the heck do they get that? Because the refunds are not really refunds, they're welfare payments. And that's why people are so eager to go to HR Block and pay $500 to have someone prepare their taxes, because they're not getting refunds on money that they earned or that they paid taxes on. They're qualifying for all these crazy welfare schemes that are disguised as tax credits. So I really felt not only did I waste like 5 days doing my income tax last week, but I felt like I was the only sucker who was actually writing a check and paying taxes as to having some gimmick to get thousands of dollars back for something I never did.
Yeah.
So that was my frustration. Anyway, I went over, and I better get back to libertyandprosperity.com. Meeting Saturday, 9:30 to 10:30 at Sal's Cafe in Summers Point.
Seth, thank you as always. Seth Grossman, Liberty and Prosperity, the website libertyandprosperity.com. I'm John DeMasi. It's Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We will talk to John in Ocean City, and maybe we'll talk to you at 609-407-1450. We'll get started after these words.
Chances are you've tasted the delicious fruits and vegetables from B.F. Mazzio, but didn't know it. That's because B.F. Mazzio has a huge wholesale division that delivers to area restaurants, schools, hospitals, and more. If you own a restaurant or run a commercial kitchen, call B.F. Mazzio's wholesale division at 609-641-6608. That's 609-641-6608. And don't forget B.F. Mazzio at 601 New Road in Northfield. Call 609-641-6608.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose. We're still recovering from the time change. Maybe we'll get it together next week. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's talk to John in Ocean City. John, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Yes, good morning. I want to mention three fathers of physics, and they all worked independently from each other in different time periods. So they all contributed to physics. That's Galileo from the 16th century, Sir Isaac Newton from the 17th century, and Albert Einstein from the 20th century. But I wish to make mention of Sir Isaac Newton, whose hobby was cracking Bible codes. Now, he didn't have it became popular in the late 1990s and early 2000s with computer software, but he didn't have that to work with back in the 17th century. Now, because he was a Christian, who had unorthodox views about the Bible, he kept a lot of that stuff to himself, because back then, in the 17th century, you could be put to death as a heretic. And his very words verbatim is, "I have learned to my convenience, which is to let what I write lie by till I am out of the way." In other words, history's dead. But he said the Jews would come together to plan out a rebirth of Israel in 1899. Well, that was 1897 with the First Zionist Congress, and he said that their desire to see a reborn Israel would come together in 1944, but actually that's 1948. So he was off, but remember, he's off by a couple years each way. But he was not a prophet; he was a mathematician. So that has to be taken into account. But he did believe in the God of the Bible, and he said the authority of prophecy is divine. So he was definitely a believer in God. So anyway, his predictions would be. Are pretty close to accurate. I mean, he said in 2060, he said Messiah Jesus will come back and return to the earth to end this satanic age. Now, I mentioned that to Doc Marquis, Brother Doc, and says he just scoffed and said, "Oh, another date setter." But it's really important to understand that this guy was on the money to a large degree. Again, he's not a prophet. He practiced advanced mathematics, and he's one of the fathers of physics. And also that we're dismissed as being knuckle dragging cave dwellers, troglodytes. We're considered to be cavemen that believe in God. But James Clerk Maxwell, who was second to Sir Isaac Newton in modern times, he founded the Cavendish Laboratory in England, and that's where DNA was discovered. And he put the placard above the Cavendish Laboratory entrance. That now if I could find that, gosh, man! But it's from Psalm 111:2. That those that take pleasure in the ways of the Lord are considered valued to the Lord God. So anyway, that's all I want to say. I'm kind of jumbled up to that.
We'll take your call again, John, but slow down, okay? so we can all catch our breath. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I just wanted to continue this thing about COVID, and I am so angry that, they told us we were unprepared then. We knew that. But now we're unprepared? After all we learned about the pandemic, and now they're telling us we're still not prepared? I mean, I hope we don't have another one because, I don't think we can take two of these things. Wow. It just rubbed me the wrong way. And, Murphy sitting up there on his high horse, oh, well, we got to close everything. Closing the casinos. I think it was March, April, May, June, July. Just about 6 months. 6 months. The number one industry in the state closes it. It just boggles my mind. I just can't believe it. Craig in Northfield. Craig, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Well, I thought you were going to go to a Mazio or Lexus.
No, you're first, okay?
Okay. Well, let's see here. For those that don't know, John and I have a little bet, a dinner bet that.
Boy, and you can't wait to cash in.
Oh, wait a second! But I just got to tell you, you should have cashed in a long time ago.
I know because now
I tell you.
Yeah.
What did I say? Did you see what what is a quesadilla, whatever it is? I really don't eat that, but it's $22. Went from $11 in California to $22.
You want to hear another one?
Go ahead.
The family took me out for my birthday. Do you know what crab cakes are on the menu? How much? How much you think?
I'm going to say $28.
How about $43.99?
Well, did that come with your vegetables? Seriously, I want to know, because if it did, then you just said crab cakes. I didn't say vegetables, side dishes, because that's usually a la carte. So talk to me here.
No, it wasn't just crab cakes. It was 2 crab cakes, $43.99.
Wow.
Can you imagine that?
Well, I got to tell you, they should have been doing a little dance on your plate for $42.
I said, what is there gold in this? $43.99.
Oh.
Well, I tell you.
Well, listen, if listen, I got to tell you something. If you're feeling that way and you're talking about that, wait till I'm done with your answer.
Yeah, okay.
Oops, I did say that.
Okay.
So let's just say that you were talking about our governor here, and you were talking about how he hurt small businesses while he let big businesses go. You understand that?
Yeah.
So what was it about? It was actually most small businesses are Republicans. But, now that he did it to us, he's got nobody to do it to with the small businesses. Now he's coming after the municipalities.
Yeah.
The small municipalities are going to suffer the most because, we got no protection. The small municipalities were like where I live with the school tax.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And we're just trying to, and let me just tell you, they say, well, you got a better, the kids are doing better. Our kids are no different than your kids. It's just what we put into our kids.
Yeah, that's right.
At home.
That's right.
So, you other parents, don't point. Get in the game. But how about that State of Union? Did you see that?
Yeah. I watched Law and Order SVU reruns, and then I watched sort of a few clips of replay. But it was a joke. It was just a joke. I mean, he was yelling and he was on something,
Well, I wasn't even thinking about, but I'm talking about our actual State of the Union. He was actually, we got fires all over the place. He should have been talking about how he's going to get us all back together on the same page, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so those people that don't know, it just came out that 32% were happy, with the State of the Union. So 68% said he was horrible.
Yes.
And I hear that 70% of Hispanics are now moving over to Donald J. Trump. And Seth was on earlier, and what was he talking about?
Oh, he talked about a lot of things. He
talked about Schumer, right?
Yeah.
And how disgusting that was.
Yes.
And so, Seth, I just want to say something to you. You've been talking a big story, but you never said how Donald J. Trump stood up for the Jewish people. And you know what? You should be talking about that. You are a leader in our community here, and we all know that you're from the Jewish faith. I think you should step up to the plate on that.
Yeah.
Okay? I just want to be real quick. AOC has a primary, I believe, on the Democratic side. That will be wonderful. And let me tell you, we know why she gets the youth vote, because she's a lot to look at, but there's nothing in between her ears.
That's true. No, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had a death. Did you see the death?
No.
Oh, well, we had a couple deaths. I talked to you about the Schumer thing a while back, okay? And then we found out it was a Tesla and all this and everything else. But then we found out also that McConnell's brother-in-law, it works for this CCP in a financial thing that's connected to the Communist Party. But how about Boeing? Did you see that?
No, I didn't. What happened?
They were having the hearings there.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy that was testifying, so those people that know, he called his buddy the night before and he said, I will not commit suicide. I promise you that. So the night that was like less than 24 hours that he called his friend, said he wasn't committing suicide. He committed suicide in the parking lot. It's amazing. But the big thing is that he got on one of those planes and he didn't realize what kind of plane it was. And then he was in the plane and he saw that it was a plane that he was testifying against. He stopped. He said, I got to get out of the plane. He got off the plane. That's how bad. So what was he testifying about? Do you know what he was testifying about?
No, I have no idea. What was it?
He was testifying about how, I'm a little nervous myself. I don't ever want to sit by one of those doors that, could blow open.
You
You
blow
saw
open,
that happen there.
Yeah.
So you see what we're talking about here? We're talking about safety, our safety in the air, and he was talking about how one of the planes, I'm not going to say which one, but one of the planes isn't up to the standard that it's supposed to be, and some things are being skipped.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's comforting. Look, if you're flying 5 hours, that's a long ways.
That sure is.
Oh, that's a lot to think about. But anyway, John, great show.
Thank you.
And,
thank you, sir.
You better get a thicker wallet for the dinner.
I'm saving up for it. How's that?
You better save. Oh, no, I'm going to pull you out now. Your time is done now.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for the call. Oh, yeah, I'm saving my money because I know he's going to get an appetizer, an entree, a dessert. Well, listen, and the highest cost liquor. So it's all coming. I know that. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. After the break, we'll talk to Alex, and then we'll talk to Bill, and maybe we'll talk to you at 609-407-1450, 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. We will get back to more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment, but guess what? Guess what holiday is coming up? And by the way, I want to thank Bob in Summers Point. Not the Bob who usually calls, but he calls once in a while. And Bob pointed out to me, he listens occasionally, but I thought that Passover was right around the time of Easter. And he sent me a note on Facebook. He said, Passover is not till April 22nd. So apologies to the Jewish faith. I had Passover in March. What could I tell you? But anyway, I digress. We're talking about B.F. Mazzeo catering your Easter dinner or your Passover dinner or a gathering that you're going to have. And Easter is what, 2 weeks away? Is that 2 weeks away? I mean, what gives? It's coming up fast. So Easter is coming up. And if you want a professional job, you want to make your life easy. There is a complete catering menu at B.F. Mazzeo. And you go online at bfmazzeo.com. That's bfmazzeo.com. Or you go into the store, and there you'll see it. It is got everything. Holiday sides, you name it, they've got it. And they can make it for you. They can customize it for you. And that's really what you need, because that's like your assistant. I remember in my family, my aunt did all the cooking and everything. But those days are gone. There's help in this world, and it's in the form of B.F. Mazzeo. 601 New Road, Northfield, online at bfmazzeo.com, bfmazzeo.com. And, of course, there's the regular things that you'll see every day, the prepared foods, the baked goods, the finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere. And I'll tell you, I eat a lot of cherries. And they consistently have delicious cherries. I can't get them anywhere else, of course, but why would I? They are the best. And that's just one example. B.F. Mazzeo, 601 New Road, Northfield, online at bfmazzeo.com. They're your holiday headquarters for just about everything you need. bfmazzeo.com, bfmazzeo.com. Coming back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. Or, if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusOfAtlanticCity.com.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. For today, mostly sunny with a high of 63. For tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 46. Tomorrow, windy with times of clouds and sun with a high of 66. Tomorrow night, increasing clouds with a low of 38. And then on Monday, breezy and cooler with times of clouds and sun with a high of 52. Monday night, clear, low 32. I'm AccuWeather's Caitlin Lawrence on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
If you would like to email me during the week, you can certainly do that. And it is JDADV, as in Victor, number 1, at Comcast.net. That's JDADV1 at Comcast.net. Email me anything you like. Program suggestions or anything like that, feel free. JDADV1 at Comcast.net. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's talk to Alex in Buna. Alex, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, John. I usually don't get a chance to call because I listen to your show via the podcast.
Okay.
And tell the person who loads the podcast up onto the internet, thank you, because they were asleep on the job for a couple of weeks and they weren't getting the shows up there. But anyway, that's been fixed apparently.
Yes.
So thank you. Anyway, I want to talk about Trump and Biden, and I'm just going to give you my bona fides. I don't like Biden. I knew about Biden when he was a bag man for the Democrats in Newcastle County. I've known about this guy a long time. He's always been a weasel and a wheeler dealer.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm going to be honest, I don't like Trump.
Okay.
And I don't want to go into it why I don't like him, but I don't like him, never cared for the man.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So this is how I'm coming at this thing. I fully think also that these prosecutions against Trump are politically motivated.
Oh, yeah.
And their function is not to necessarily find him guilty, but to keep him tied up. So I don't like that either. To me, that's wrong, and I wouldn't like it if they were doing it to Biden.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Now, that said, I have no doubt in my mind that Trump has a good chance of winning this election over Biden.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you what the problem is. As I look at it, Trump has never had any coattails. You know, if you remember that midterm, we're going to take over the House and Senate.
Yeah.
And we barely took over the House.
Yep.
Every endorsement, for the most part, he has made. Not all of them, but most of them. The candidate has not won.
Right.
You've got a number of senators and congressmen retiring, many Republicans, and it just does not look good because the other problem that he has is he can't raise the war chest, the funds that he needs. The Democrats are out when it comes to fundraising. They're outdoing him by a mile.
Yes, they are.
So there's a lot of problems that he has, and even let's be honest here. You know, am I going to say that economically I'm better off now? I'd have to be an idiot to say that.
Yeah.
And anybody who says that obviously doesn't go food shopping.
That's right.
That's
right.
But the thing of it is, for example, he spent so much time getting wrapped up in that wall when there's other things he could have done to secure that border with that money. That, to me, it really didn't do anything. Even the parts that were built, some of them fell down.
Yeah.
The other thing is he had a good thing with when they started accusing him of the cages, which were put into effect by Obama. And it's like he sat on his hands. He could have went on there and shown proof on TV who built those cages and instituted them. The other thing is he deported less people than Obama. So he can go on and on about things. And he, in many cases, fails to deliver. But even if he gets elected, John, they're still going to come after him in the courts.
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think he's going to control Congress from what I see. It doesn't look good.
So who would you vote for? Who would you vote for?
Who would I vote for? you know what, John? I have to be honest with you. I wasn't going to vote for either of them, but Biden has made such a mess of things that I'm actually thinking of voting for Trump. And I really, you know when they say you hold your nose?
Yeah.
I really have to do it. But I'm not fully committed.
Okay.
And I'm just
I just was curious, you know, because you laid a case against both of them, and, you know, good case, but you're right. Biden has made a complete mess of things.
He look, like I said, I know about this guy. I don't want to go into it. But the other thing I want to say about if Trump gets reelected is that his presidency is going to be essentially neutered. I don't think he's going to have the support of Congress from what I see if you look at these congressional and senatorial races. And number two, they're going to be nipping at his heels constantly with court cases and stuff like that. And if the Democrats control even just the Senate, say, he's not going to have any peace. He's going to be, he's not going to be able to do much. And I'm just going to end it here. I truly believe there's Trump derangement syndrome. But on the other hand, I hear it from your callers, there's Trump adoration syndrome. You get some callers that when they call, they break the first and second commandment of the 10 Commandments when they talk about Trump. And I just don't, to me, that's just political hobbyism.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in there.
Well, you did very well. And thanks for the call, Alex. Really appreciate that. Good call. Bill in Ocean City. Bill, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning. To your previous caller, hold your nose and vote for Trump on October 26th. That's when it all starts.
Yeah.
But I didn't call about that. I did call about some of the prosecutions they're going after Trump with. And I'm surprised this hasn't made the news, or maybe it even hasn't made the courtroom. There was a good article I read a few months ago in American Thinker. And one of the problems with the Fani Willis case, I mean, we all hear about her romance and improper conduct in office, but a big problem is she appointed Wade to be a special prosecutor contrary to and in violation of Georgia law. She was required to take him to the County Board of Commissioners for approval and nominate him, and they had to approve him. She didn't do that.
Yeah.
So anything he touched is what they call tainted.
Yeah.
Irreparably tainted, like dirt in a punch bowl. You can't clean it up. You got to throw it all out.
Right.
And anything he touched can't be used by future prosecutors. So there's nothing left. The whole case should be thrown out. And she probably ought to be sanctioned or maybe removed because she violated the law there. A similar thing with Jack Smith. And he's prosecuting the J6 case and also the Mar-a-Lago case. He was not properly appointed. Attorney General Garland appointed him contrary to federal law. Neither Jack Smith or his special prosecutor office was established properly. You have to establish that because he's not a Department of Justice employee. He's a private citizen. Garland doesn't have the authority to do it. Congress has to make his special prosecutor office as a special law. Then the President Biden would have to nominate him for approval. None of that happened. You know, you can remember Mueller. Congress had to act and make his office. Somebody had to appoint him.
Yes.
It didn't happen. So likewise, everything he touched is tainted and has to be thrown out and can't be used by anything he collected, like in testimony, depositions, grand juries, can't be used. So I'm surprised we don't hear about that part. In fact, Ed Meese, the former Attorney General, wrote a friend of the court amicus brief about Jack Smith, saying exactly that he wasn't properly appointed, a violation of law. But none of the courts seem to be touching it. And they're all waiting. I guess they're just dragging it out to make Trump spend time and money to get to the Supreme Court to try to run the clock out before the election.
It's just unbelievable. I'm surprised. You're right. I'm surprised that this Fani Willis and the other guy, I'm surprised that everything she touches isn't thrown out. And I'm surprised that she isn't sanctioned. You're right. I can't believe it. You know, they're just letting this go.
Yeah, it should have been thrown out at the front door.
That's right.
Anyway, you asked me to remind everybody, we vote between October 26th and up until the day before the election day, November 5th. So get out early and vote for Trump, and let's overwhelm their ability to cheat.
Yes.
They're going to cheat.
Yes.
They're going to do it.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for the call, Bill. I think we'll take Greg after because we got a couple minutes left. So, Greg, we'll take you in the 10 o'clock hour. I just wanted to mention, we're going to talk about this in the next hour or in the third hour. There's a survey, and it shows that Trump is ahead slightly over Biden. I am concerned.
I hear you.
Because, we're hearing callers saying, yeah, they're for Trump. Some are, yeah, I might vote for him. But you know what I'm concerned about? People say, no, I'm not going to vote for Biden. And then, when they get in that booth or when they mail in their ballot, then they say, Biden's all right. And they vote for him. So that's what I'm concerned about. I just don't, I do not trust the voting public. I mean, Bob Menendez was reelected after he was indicted for the first time. So, and I've said this before, voters are dopes in a lot of cases. So what can I tell you? But that's the fear that I have. I mean, yeah, Trump may have obstacles against him and so on and so forth, but I'm just concerned. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We're going to start off the next hour with Greg and Paul and George and maybe you at 609-407-1450. Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hour number 1 is in the books. Hour number 2 on the way. Don't go away.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 2, Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Also heard on 1450 AM and always online at WPGTalkRadio.com. And we got a full bank of callers. But first I want to say, here's the headline. Here's the headline in one of the articles that I read. Keep the energy going. Keep the energy going. I'll leave you in suspense what that article's referring to. It's a joke. Let's talk to Greg in Absecon. Greg, good morning. Thanks for holding.
Mr. DeMasi, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Dealing with the situations that exist on our, on our palette today, our plate.
Yes.
It's endless. Regardless of what you touch, there's something wrong with it. They all have one common denominator. Most of it is the government's stuck right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And if they're not there, they're going to end up there. It's like affordable housing.
Yeah.
They're still trying to put square pegs in round holes.
Yeah.
They've been doing that forever. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel really bad for those people in the Stanley Homes Village. I mean, how could
the iceberg.
This day and age, how could you have no heat? How could you have no heat? I mean, I don't understand it. I just don't.
Well, if they build something and don't maintain it, guess what?
Yeah, that's right. No, that's right.
It falls apart.
Yeah.
And And then the government's back in low housing again.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And again, we're back to square holes, round objects. They will not fit.
That's right.
The town should be dictating what low-cost housing should be within their environment.
Yes.
Not the government dictating what it should be when there's no way in hell they even understand what's going on out here.
Yeah.
And every time they turn around and they create a new law and a new price and a new something, it's beyond our scope of what they're doing. We try to figure out what they're about. It's impossible.
Yeah.
COVID. COVID is now our permanent whack-a-mole game. It is never going to go away.
Jeez.
It's accomplishing exactly what they wanted, the incurable disease.
Yes.
Got everybody looking for an answer, but nobody's coming up with one.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not going to change.
Yeah, and to say that after all these years that we're still not prepared, and if it's going to happen again, it'll be just as bad as it was, if not worse than the first time. I don't understand it.
Well, look at how it was created. They're still trying to decide who created it and where.
Yeah. Oh.
Now there's some, it either took place in China or one of the corner stores in Hoboken. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
And it will not get any better, because if they're dictating what it's going to be, they will dictate incorrectly.
Yes.
They own the track record.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's not going away.
That's right. Greg, as always, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Paul and EHT. Paul, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John. Okay, I'm 81 years old. I've spoke to you before.
Yes.
Soon to be 82.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Well, in June. June 24 is my birthday.
How about that?
But I live in an assisted living facility, and I guess I'm blessed, because if I wasn't here, I'd be homeless. So I have a nice room, private room that I can go to and be alone if I want to, and I get my meals and I get my medical attention. In return, I just give them my Social Security check, and they give me back $140 a month. So I guess that's not too bad of a deal, right?
No, it's not bad at all.
Because if I were out on the street, it would cost me probably $2,000 a month for rent.
Minimum, yes.
Yeah. And so living here, I have a nice, clean room, private room to stay in, and I have a big screen TV, a 50-inch TV, and so I'm blessed.
You're living large, Paul.
And one last thing, I'm blessed because I can still walk with the aid of a walker. I just use a 4-wheel walker because of balance problems. But a lot of people here are in wheelchairs, so I feel I'm blessed.
You are. Thank you for the call, Paul. Appreciate it. Well, count your blessings, huh? That's the message there, I guess. George and AC. George, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John. First of all, let me say that Paul is absolutely blessed.
Yes.
And I've heard him call before, and even on Harry's show. For a gentleman like that to know and understand and appreciate what he has is probably the most important thing in life. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm happy for him. Very happy. Going back, I think about 3 callers, that was a very, very important call. I think the man's name was Alex?
Yes.
Okay. That call that gentleman made is probably the most, it's one of 2 of the most important voting segments in this upcoming presidential cycle, right? The other group is, and I'm going to speak about him a little bit because I agree with him 100%, especially, okay, the part that he made reference about, the violation of the first two commandments, which, in case anybody doesn't remember, number one, you shall have no other gods before me. Okay, Donald Trump is not my God.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
All right. And the second one is, you shall make no idols. He is not my idol. Okay. In fact, okay, I had a tremendous amount of disdain for him when he was here in Atlantic City. Okay,
yeah.
For a whole host of reasons. All right. But now, fortunately for me, and maybe unfortunately for Alex, if he goes to the polls as things continue to progress, he feels he's going to have to hold his nose. And, well, that is an important segment, a very important segment. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about that in a moment. The second segment, Alex is definitely not part of, nor are you and I, and that's the soccer mom. Okay, the suburban, woman that is so much against, for a whole lot of reasons, against Trump.
Yeah.
All right. So none of us, not Alex, not you, not me, are soccer moms. So let's focus on the group that Alex is of. Okay. The group that is going to hold their nose or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Alex, I ask you to look at the big picture, and you do. He does. But I think that maybe there's one side of the four frames of the picture that he might be missing. I agree with him about everything that he says. No disagreement about any of it, okay? But that's three of the four sides, okay? The fourth side is the side that drags me towards Trump and causes me to be a strong supporter of him, not idolizing him, okay, and so on, all right? And that side is, and I've said it before on your show, and nobody can deny me having said it a number of times, okay? No man, Alex, even with all the obstacles that he faced with the wall, and like Alex said, and shouldn't concentrate on or this or that, or all the things that Alex spoke to, no sense me repeating it, okay? I'm 100% with Alex on all of that, okay? But there's one side of the picture, one of the four sides that many people are missing about Trump. And I said it over and over again. I believe, in my opinion, there is no other candidate running that has, let's put it out there, the testosterone, the nuts, let's put it, okay? Nobody has the energy, the drive, the desire to make America great again. And it must be made great again. This man, I've seen it. Come on, John.
Yeah.
I was involved in the courtroom, okay, on the tunnel project. I was one of the 5 litigants. All right. I was pro se, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot about Steve Wynn's team. I learned a lot about Trump's team. I learned a lot about the civil rights aspect of it. I learned a lot about the environmental aspect of it. That's 4 sides over there, but I was the 5th side. I was the only one that was there in that courtroom regarding the issue that mattered. And I was there with my Atlantic City Transportation Company, okay? The transportation component. Not to say that the civil rights component wasn't important. Not to say that the other issues, environmental or other, are not important, okay? But in that instance, there were 5 sides to the frame, okay? There was the Pentagon, let's call it. This man, Trump, he doesn't give up. And what we need today in the United States of America is a candidate that's going to win the election, no matter how hard it is, no matter what his foibles are, no matter how many negatives it is that he has. I don't see anybody out there. Hey, I like DeSantis. I like Tim Scott. I hope that Tim Scott becomes the vice president under Trump.
So do I. So do I.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that.
No, not even Tim Scott, who I really like a lot. Okay. Nobody has what he has.
Yeah.
Whether it's the courtroom battles, the weaponization. Hey, this government has been weaponizing the Justice Department against so many groups of people for so long. It's beyond unconscionable. Okay? And what they've done now is they've brought it to a head by doing this to the candidate of the opposing party. This is third world nation stuff. Okay? And it goes on and on and on. Okay? Hey, Biden, he's right. Or the other guy about no one from Delaware. I know people from Delaware. This guy, Biden, and for years and decades, is nothing but a low-life scumbag.
Yeah,
okay, a
true.
thief, a bum. Okay, and yet what does he have? What does he have behind him? He's got the corrupt Democrat Party. Okay, the party of the KKK. Okay, the party of so much divide and conquer. Okay, to keep themselves in power. That's all they care about. And Chuck Schumer is the perfect example of that today. A Jewish, the highest elected Jewish individual holding office in the United States of America today, an absolute fact. And this man will turn his back on his own ethnicity. He will turn his back on what is right versus what is wrong. For what, John? For power.
Yeah,
that's all
right.
They care about is their own aggrandizement and power. So guess what? I say to all those that have to hold their nose, or those soccer moms that are out there, whatever the reason is that you don't like this man, you show me in your life any other person. And I told you the first campaign that I was involved in was Dwight D. Eisenhower. Okay, so I'm no young pup either. All right. Okay, you know, he pecked me on the forehead. Okay, 2 or 3 days later, I was getting my ass kicked on a corner where I lived in the Bronx, New York.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the call, George. Got to move on. But the bottom line is, in George's opinion, and I agree, that Trump is the most qualified. That's the bottom line. I mean, no matter what you think about him, I mean, we have two individuals running for president, and one has shown you what he's done in 4 years, where, I mean, it's a mess. And I'll read this to you, and then we're going to get coming up on a break, and then we'll get back to the calls. The headline said, "Keep the energy going," and the article went on to say that the energy supplied was Joe Biden and the need for him to continue as president, therefore endorsing him in this election. Just want to read you a segment of this joke. The Inflation Reduction Act will save households thousands of dollars thanks to a cap on prescription drug costs for the people on Medicare and the extension of subsidies for plans on the healthcare marketplace, plus a cap on the price of insulin and other provisions. And the article goes on to say, Biden has a track record to be proud of. What are they talking about? What track record are they talking about? His State of the Union address showed he has the energy, spirit, and enthusiasm he'll need to defend it. Huh? They say nothing about the cost of living going up. It takes $1,000 more now than it did 3 years ago when Biden took office to buy the same goods. $1,000 in 3 years. What's it going to be if he gets another term? Another 1,000 or more? Said nothing about the fiasco of the border. And that's just two reasons not to vote for Biden. But you see, people read this, and the uninformed voters just, hey, oh, yeah, he's all right. Really? Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Bob, John, Mark, and Ginny in that order. And maybe you at 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. We'll get back to more of what we're talking about here today on Talk with a Purpose. But first, as we always say, no controversy, no discussion. It is one of the finest automobiles on the market today. It is consistently ranked 1, 2, maybe 3, but it's up there. It's way up there. And I'll tell you about car alarms. My car alarm went off this morning, and first of all, it saw Chris. So that really, I guess they thought it was an illegal alien. I don't know. Then I went down, and I guess thought I was an illegal alien because it was still beeping. I mean, it was loud, but I turned it off. But anyway. I digress again. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. And, you drive a Lexus, and really, the thing about the Lexus is you really don't have to do anything. I mean, you keep the regular maintenance, the oil changes, and, brakes, maybe tires. That's it. That's all I've done. I think I've tires once, brakes once. And I've got close to 90,000 miles, and I've had it now 4 years, and it's still running like a charm. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. Online at aclexus.com, aclexus.com. You will see, and in fact, there's a special event going on right now. They're having a sale on SUVs, and boy, I'll tell you, a friend of mine has a Lexus SUV, and it is fabulous. Fabulous. And that's just one of them. I mean, they have a variety of Lexus. They have the hybrids. They have the gas-powered. All of those are there. Check it out for yourself. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. Online at aclexus.com. We're coming back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
I'm Seth Grossman for LibertyandProsperity.com. Everyone who lives near the ocean or the bay knows that we have a bad storm and flooding about every 20 years. Some people want their shore houses built on pilings. However, others like me would rather pay for major repairs and improvements every 20 years than walk up and down an extra set of steps every day. At one time, Americans were free to decide what kind of house we lived in, but not anymore. If you live in any shore town from Brigantine to Cape May, you may not get a permit for new bathrooms or new kitchen unless you first spend another $75,000 to raise your house 14 feet off the ground. Learn the details and what we can do about it. Visit LibertyandProsperity.com. Help us reach more people. Join our weekly breakfast. Donate what you can to keep us on the air and online. LibertyandProsperity.com.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose. 609-407-1450. We should mention, if you cannot listen to our show at its regular time, Saturday or Sunday, you can always go to the marvelous invention called the podcast, John DeMasi Podcast. You Google that, and all of the shows come up. There's I would say, over 200? 210? Wow. 210 shows. I keep saying, I don't remember show number 150. But anyway, you can do that, and you can listen at any time, anywhere. It's John DeMasi Podcasts. You Google that, and they all come up. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's talk to Bob, who's still in Florida, but it's getting nicer up here, Bob. So you're coming back.
I hear it's beautiful. My wife's up there for her mother and her mother's 93rd birthday, so I heard it's just beautiful.
It is, yeah. It's been nice.
Can't wait to get back, really. But, not to Phil Murphy, but hey, love Cape May, love New Jersey. But,
oh yeah.
Hey, look, so George talked a lot about what I wanted to get to, but Alex encouraged me in that he was heavily leaning toward Trump, and that really is I think great news. But again, for voters that are on the fence, people like Alex, if you're on the fence, the Trump policies were wonderful for this country. Our country was in great shape.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were.
And Trump is far from perfect. I mean, far from perfect, right? And you and I had a preference, the governor of Florida. But, look, I'm all on board for Trump now. I said that from the beginning. I mean, absolutely on board, because the ramifications, and Alex needs to realize this, and I said this a few weeks ago, the ramifications of Biden winning this next election. Look.
I don't even want to think about it.
Think about what the future what will happen here. Our more superior, what we think's a little better leader, like Ron DeSantis.
Yes.
Down the pipeline, he won't have a chance at all to get elected, nor will any other conservative get elected in the next 50 to 100 years.
Yes.
If Biden wins, because Texas will get turned blue, with the open borders will continue, guaranteed, with no election to worry about, guaranteed.
Yeah.
And then you have, when Texas turns blue, it's like California. You can have the most qualified, wonderful candidate, and you'll lose. Schwarzenegger won like 25 years ago because he was an absolute celebrity. But you cannot win California. You cannot win given the demographics of California. So the writing is on the wall. We don't skip behind Trump. We're going to have D.C. statehood, Puerto Rican statehood. The U.S. Senate now will be a permanent Democrat majority. That's 4 more Democrat senators into perpetuity.
Yeah.
And again, it's not. You have to understand. You have to go beyond the personality. I don't care if Trump says some vulgar things. I don't really care. And I don't care if he gets into fights with certain celebrities. That it doesn't matter. His policies were great for the country.
That's right.
Again, the borders were much more secure.
Oh yeah. And
inflation was non-existent. Real wages went up dramatically, and there were no foreign entanglements. There was no American blood being shed and American treasure being flushed down the toilet. So, look, I know you got other calls.
Yeah.
John.
Well,
next hour, I'd like to call about the imminent arrival of Haitians into Florida, and we'll see what our great governor is going to do about it.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the call, Bob. John in Ocean City. John, good morning. Welcome back.
Yes, I can smell the bay leaves and onions cooking in my broth that I'm going to be putting corned beef in this terrible, god-awful place called America. Yeah. By standards, I'm a poor person. I'm a disabled man in a HUD community. But a message to the leftists that want to spark civil war by promoting communist class warfare: stick it where the sun don't shine. That's all I got to say to them. But this is from Psalm 111:2. Oh man, I just missed. There it is. The works of the Lord are great, favored by those. Forget it. I had it written down. Now I can't find it. Forget it. Sorry. Anyway, it's Psalm 111:2. You can look it up for yourselves. But it's above it's a placard above the Cavendish Laboratory, where DNA technology was developed. So to knock people down that believe in God, understand that some of the greatest scientists of all time believe in God, and inventors too. So that being said, the reason why we don't badmouth President Trump or bring up any of his faults, because there's those that see nothing but faults of President Trump. They can't see anything good about him. So I'm not going to. It just adds fuel to the fire that people you can't see anything but negative things about President Trump. But as a matter of fact, over in Ukraine, they're actually arming and training pregnant women. If you think it's a bunch of far-fetched nonsense, there's kooks here in America that are developing jet fighter outfits for women in their third trimester of pregnancy to fight experienced Chinese and Russian jet fighters. And so there's a lot of insanities going on. It was Sergeant Sangari, a Middle Eastern American from the Middle East, raised in America, who actually is a part of military intelligence over in the Middle East, Near East, and Eastern Europe, who said that war over there is a war for profit. And if you think that's a bunch of jive nonsense, remember it was General Smedley Butler who got 2 Congressional Medals of Honor in World War I, said that while me and my fellow soldiers were freezing and starving in those trenches, the big shots were making money hand over fist. He wrote a book called War is a Racket. So, having I think that sending our money over to Ukraine has been such a waste. And we're getting involved with people with the most powerful nuclear weapons on the face of the earth that have hypersonic missile capability. So we might be contributing to World War III by being over there. And as far as I'm concerned, NATO lost its usefulness, outlived its usefulness, rather, when the Soviet Union was dissolved circa 1991. That's all I got to say. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the call. Mark and EHT. Mark, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good. How about you?
I'm pretty good. So listen, I'm very a person that listens to news and watches Hannity, listens to you, Harry Hurley, all this stuff. And I know that DeSantis talked about firing 2 woke prosecutors back a few years ago.
Yes.
What I don't understand is how Kemp in Georgia can't fire Fannie Willis. I've never seen any coverage on it, and I watch, like I said, I watch and listen to a lot of news, and for some reason I'm either missing it, or I just wanted your opinion on why can't he just step in and say, you know what, this is a terrible thing that's happening to our country, and we're going to get rid of her.
What do you think the number one reason would be that he doesn't fire her?
Well, what I think is, it's based on the conversation, from what I understand, it's based on the conversation Trump had with Kemp saying, find me those, X amount of votes, blah, 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 blah. But even so, I've heard Kemp say that this is not a prosecution he agrees with. I've heard him say that. So, to be honest with you, I don't have an answer. That's why I'm calling to see what you think.
How about because she's black?
Well, but I mean, I guess you could argue that. But
I mean, yeah.
To be honest with you, I have no idea if DeSantis. I have no idea the race that those 2 prosecutors were down in Florida. I know they were just woke.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I mean, she's unhinged. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
well, first of all, the flaw in your argument there was you compared DeSantis to the governor of Georgia, and there's, to me, not a comparison. So you're taking the governor of Florida and saying, well, he did that, so maybe this guy should do that. He might still do it. I think he should. He should, tell her to resign because the other guy resigned. So I definitely think he should. But whether he will or not, maybe he's afraid, because the backlash of, she's black, that's why he got rid of her. That's going to be bandied about. So,
and that's one of the things where I think I don't see any political pressure being put on him to do it. I mean, he's a politician, and I mean, almost all of them that they get swayed one way or another by just public opinion. And I don't see any commentary on it at all. And it blows my mind.
Yeah.
We're not putting these politicians feet on the fire to get this. I mean, talking about the wasting funds, and not to mention, I mean, Wade gets to keep all that money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy. These taxpayers, and listen, they're Democrats down there in that county. I get it.
Yeah.
But they're still taxpayers, and it just boggles my mind that we just spend stupid money after stupid money.
That's right.
On all kinds of stuff.
The people should be screaming. They should be screaming down there. They really should.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, but maybe there will be some action, because if there's enough of noise about it, maybe he fires her. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I do hope so. I just hope that we start talking about it more, because that's the only way that he's going to do it. And like I said, I don't see Hannity. I don't see any of them talking about it. And I think they really should be screaming it from the rooftop on it. So,
Mark, thanks. Thank you. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Jenny and Absecon. Jenny, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Well, I'm from Absecon, but I'm in Florida now till the end of May. And I
lucky you. Lucky you.
Well, worked long and hard to get there. Worked long and hard. No inheritance, no divorce settlement, just all hard work. And I'm grateful that I had the smarts and the stamina to do it. What I want to say is my development is 6,850 condominiums. It's predominantly Jewish. Any Jewish person that supports and votes for Biden, it needs their head examined. Because now Biden's fighting with Netanyahu. Who is he to tell Netanyahu and Israel what to do?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? There are most staunch, strong, successful ally. They have internet capabilities. They have the intelligence second to none in the world. They know what's going on. They didn't know what was going to happen October 7th. I'm seeing a lot about that on the Israeli TV station. There's a TV station from Israel that's English speaking. Very interesting. In any event, any Jewish person anywhere has to have their head examined. They're just absolutely crazy. You know, in Ronald Reagan's book, his memoirs, he stated that there's no such thing as a perfect candidate. Okay, Trump is far from perfect, but he kept us safe, and the economy was much, much, much better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Forget about how he says things. So what? In fact, I think he's funny.
Yeah, he is.
I think he's funny. You know, with this E. Jean Carroll verdict, I think you could, and I've seen you, I think you could put on a wig and a dress and say Trump sexually assaulted you in a Bergdorf Goodman fitting room, and you'd get money too. In this political climate, this is absolutely stupid. First of all, the Trumps don't drive themselves around. They have drivers.
Yes.
He couldn't have just moseyed into Bergdorf Goodman, saw this spectacular woman that he couldn't resist, and asked her for suggestions on a gift. I mean, to me, she looks like a scarecrow. I just can't believe that a jury would do this, and that this Alvin Bragg, he needs to be disbarred. Fannie Willis needs to be disbarred.
Yes.
See, Fannie Willis, the first thing she would pull is the race card.
Yes.
Her father was a Black Panther.
Yes.
So need I say more?
Yep. Yeah, he was. Yeah, that's right. You know, you're giving me an idea, Ginny. Maybe I should. Should I quit this radio show and go dress as Donald Trump?
Yeah.
That's
all you need. You need a wig and a dress.
That's it.
Say he sexually molested you, and no police report. Think how ridiculous this is.
Yeah.
No police report. Yeah. No surveillance footage. Where would he have parked? The Trumps don't drive themselves.
That's right.
They have drivers, all of them. And more power to them.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't have to drive myself. But I belong to two clubs down here. One's a conservative club, one's a Republican club. And we're all in agreement. And there are Jewish people in there, but they have a brain. They're not sheep.
Yeah.
And another thing I believe in, Ronald Reagan's 11th commandment. Thou shalt not speak ill of another Republican. People have to get on the bandwagon here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is ridiculous. Trump bashing. He's the only person that's going to save our country.
That's true. Ginny, thanks a lot for the call. That is true. Can you see, and when Bob was talking about Biden, I didn't bring this up, but I said it before, and I'll say it again. In 3 years, Biden's been in office 3 years. It takes $1,000 more to buy the same goods you bought 3 years ago. Think about that. $1,000. That's a lot of money. Well, what does Biden care? Hey, he's got his pension. He's set for life. Let's see. We have Adele, we have Linda, and maybe we have you after the break. at 609-407-1450. It's Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We're coming back with more show after these words.
Chances are you've tasted the delicious fruits and vegetables from B.F. Mazzio, but didn't know it. That's because B.F. Mazzio has a huge wholesale division that delivers to area restaurants, schools, hospitals, and more. If you own a restaurant or run a commercial kitchen, call B.F. Mazzio's wholesale division at 609-641-6608. That's 609-641-6608. And don't forget B.F. Mazzio at 601 New Road in Northfield. Call 609-641-6608.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. This afternoon's going to be mostly sunny and mild with a high 63. Partly cloudy mild this evening with a low 46. Windy mild tomorrow with times of clouds and sunshine, the high 66 to wrap the weekend. When you get back at it Monday, breezy and cooler with times of clouds and sun, the high 52. Tuesday looks windy with times of clouds and sun, the high 48. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
There is a way that you can listen to us when we're not here. I mean, what can I tell you? We have the best of on Sundays. Harry is on from 3 to 5, and I'm on from 5 to 7. Hey, you got 4 hours of us. What more could you ask for on a Sunday afternoon? Right here on WPG Talk Radio 95.5. But it's the live version now of Talk with a Purpose. Let's talk to Adele in AC. Adele, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
I'm stuck here in Atlantic City right now, and I just like to tell you I'm an old friend of Mr. Donald Trump's, and he really wanted to be president. This is like when I was friends with him over 40 years ago, and I said, I want you to be president of the United States of America. And he was like, you're kidding me. And I was like, no, I'm not. And he really, went for it. He went for the bone, And he's like a very, he has a lot of integrity, and he really wants to be president.
You gave him the idea. You gave him the idea?
Yeah, he just, he's, a wonderful person, an individual that really, knows what's going on. And, he's just, loves people. He's like a big kitty cat, and he's just amazing at what he can do. And that's why I feel that he should be our president again.
Well, you and a lot of others believe that, and I'm one of them, you're one of them, and others here calling the show are. And Adele, thanks for the call. Linda in Absecon. Linda, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John. One of the best shows on radio.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome. It's true. So what are the 2 commandments that President Trump broke that Alex was referring to?
I think one was, what's the you know what? I went to Catholic school and I had this drummed into me, and I can't remember, but I think one was, thou shalt not worship false idols. And I don't know what the other one is, but
oh, so he did say that.
I don't know that's.
But no, because I was curious as to what he thought. That terrible thing, Trump. I would have thought he would have picked instead of picking, you shall make no idols, and instead of picking, you shall have no other gods before me.
I guess
I would have thought that he would have found something a little more differently than that, which is probably why he didn't say it. So, really, you shall make no idols. Really, you shall have no other gods before me. Is that about saying that Trump is an egotist and any other unkind words people can find about this man?
Well, I think what the caller was saying was he doesn't worship Trump, but he, as a candidate, he is endorsing him. That's what I think it was about. It wasn't about, the religious aspect.
Well, he referenced that Trump broke the commandments. He didn't say he broke the commandments. Unless I stand to be corrected.
Well, I don't remember. We'd have to go back and listen to the recording.
But where they'll go with this man, right? They will go around 16 blocks before they'll come back to the one issue that might be a fault of President Trump. But for heaven's sake, the man was a great president.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
For heaven's sake, he taught us so much. For heaven's sake, Americans were scared to death to go near tariffs. Trump put it in the conversation, and once he put it in the conversation, it never left. And China paid us back a whole bunch of money. A whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
And but when it comes to talking about, highest black employment ever.
Yes.
Black historical colleges never saw so much money, as I understand it.
Yeah.
Ever. He lifted everybody. How many sons and grandsons have you lost in the wars that President Trump brought about? None.
That's right. That's right.
But you didn't like Rocket Man, though, right? It scared you to death. You didn't like the word Rocket Man. Well, Rocket Man and him formed some sort of which was better than throwing nukes at one another.
That's right. That's right.
And cost of living, folks. How could you vote?
I don't know. I don't know how anybody. Well, of course, my cousin. That's another story. But how anybody could vote for Biden? How? I just don't understand it. And what are they thinking?
All I ever wanted from that man was one Supreme Court justice. Just one. He didn't give me just one. He didn't give me just two. He gave me three.
Yeah. And good ones, too.
Who would have thought of that? And by the way, how did Fauci know that Trump was going to be facing a pandemic in 2017? In 2017, Trump made that, Fauci made that statement that President Trump will be facing a pandemic in 2017. That was interesting.
Yeah.
And there is, one more thing, if I may.
Sure.
What Trump did, all he has to say to America regarding abortion, and he doesn't like it because he told Chris Matthews that he does not like abortion. And so Chris Matthews basically said, well, I won't go into that. So anyway, all he did, you say to America, look, America, you didn't like abortion. Roe versus Wade was wrong. It was unconstitutional. Never should have been passed in the first place. So I got you three justices. And then go on to say, I myself, I stand against it. I don't like abortion. I don't like rape, incest, and something else. But that's all he owes the American people to say. He doesn't have to get into how messy the Democrats are going to let this get, because Democrats, not all, maybe all, I don't know, because I wouldn't be in their party. Pretty soon they're going to allow you to triple bag the baby and throw it in the trash dumpster. That's already happened. Is that and you think you deserve to be blessed? You sit back on your laurels and you put your imprimatur just to get a vote, to let a baby ultimately down the line be triple bagged and thrown into the dumpster? What kind of filthy animal are you? And don't know God.
Oh, boy. That's that. Now that you put it that way, Linda, thanks for the call. Jeez. Boy, that's pretty bad. Kate is an EHT. Kate, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hi, good morning, John.
Good morning.
I wanted to talk about how, out of the blue, Menendez, who's been a crook forever, is now suddenly being exposed, and coincidentally, Miss Murphy, the First Lady, is going to be put in the seat, which we all should know will be Phil Murphy's seat.
Yes.
So he never goes away since he's on his second term.
Yes.
That seat is so important. It's one of 100 seats that make major decisions and votes.
Yes.
For our whole country, which affects our whole world. That's how important this seat is. And I read not too long ago that she was very much down against the person running against her, but and yet suddenly now she's just going up, up, up. There's cheating in so much cheating. When he was running for the second term, he was down by 33,000 votes.
Yeah.
According to CNN, the next morning,
it was up.
So we should have been good. And then suddenly, bloop, bloop, bloop. Oh, no, now they're tied. And then, oh, wait, he's taken the lead. Because, they're saying is, well, Democrats all vote by mail, so they were mostly all Democrat votes. This is a scam and a scheme, and he's going to try to put her in, and he'll never leave. And speaking of your last caller, and abortion, I mean, he put into New Jersey up to 9-month abortion. He is a wicked monster.
He's evil. Yeah, he's evil. He's evil.
Beyond evil. I mean, you forget raising the tolls 3 times, raising taxes constantly, calling us jackasses, keeping the children out of the schools for longer than almost any other state.
That's right.
Suicides, a sanctuary state, which is against everything. That's right, and all of our laws. The man hasn't done anything right. He's not even from New Jersey. This man is going to put himself in the seat, is what he's doing.
That's right.
It's similar to John Fetterman, who really isn't making those decisions there. Someone else is running his seat, as the same as Joe Biden.
Yeah.
No, he's not making any decisions. He recently said to the crowd, speaking of Joe Biden, am I allowed to take questions now? I mean, we truly, it's not even like a joke anymore. The inmates are running the asylum. The people that are making our laws now are people that should probably be in asylums.
Yeah.
They are not only an evil criminal cartel, but they're insane. They're insane.
Yeah.
What they're doing to our military. But the bottom line and the point is, this woman, him, with her, cannot take the seat of Menendez.
Well,
that's why they go after their own. When they start to go after their own, just like Cuomo, then they want somebody else, even worse, to be put in the seat.
Let me tell you, I read an article, and by the way, she's running against Andy Kim.
Yes.
And I tried to get Andy Kim on because here's my thinking. Of the two of them, I'd rather Andy Kim than her, But I read that she is way ahead of him in fundraising. She's way ahead, and in name recognition. So Andy Kim has an uphill battle.
Yes, he does. You're absolutely right. He does. And name recognition, which is just absolute silliness. The Murphy name.
Yeah.
What qualifies her to hold one of 100 seats in our country?
Nothing.
She's no qualification.
She's married to him. That's it.
She's married to him. Yeah, there you go. That's great.
The qualification.
And by the way, on your comment, who's funding her? We know who's funding her. Places like Goldman Sachs, BlackRock. We're talking big trillion-dollar organizations are funding her. That's how desperate. He had aspirations for running for president. I think that's not looking good this time around or possibly even next time. So one way or another, he's keeping his hand in it. And now this is an even bigger seat. He's the worst governor. He may even have surpassed Gavin Newsom.
Yeah,
he is so wicked. And people need to know, vote no. And even if you're not, your vote isn't counting. We need to be alert and make sure, because they cheat. This is how a Democrat wins.
Yeah,
they
that's
cheat,
right.
they
That's
steal,
right.
and they lie. Okay? They work for not the holy living God, but the other one.
That's right. Thanks for the call, Kate. Good call. Well, I'm glad somebody brought up the fact of Tammy Murphy. Can you imagine another Murphy? And if he wins, that's 6 years. So we've had 8 of Murphy, and now we have 6 of another Murphy, which is the same thing. I mean, you know, she's going to ask him what to do every time. Oh, but Mom, no, she's not. She's her own person. Yeah, right. Okay. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We're going to start the 11 o'clock hour, and we'll start with Frank, and Bob is back, and maybe we'll talk to you at 609-407-1450. Going to talk a little bit about the border crisis. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, he's my hero. Tell you what he's doing. And, well, look, as long as Biden's in there, we're going to have this border crisis. We just got to get Biden out of there. That's all there is to it. And, a survey. We got a survey, too, coming up in the next hour. Get a couple of things on the table if we get time. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Hour number 2 is in the books. Hour number 3 on the way. Don't go away.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 3, Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you with us. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. If you want to chime in on anything we're talking about this morning. And thanks to Jim in Eagleswood for the kind words. We appreciate it. 609-407-1450. I will get to the calls, but I want to get to a couple of surveys. And this is, what good did the State of the Union do for Joe Biden? In a word, not much. 2 Pennsylvania polls released this week show no meaningful change for Biden in the critical state, and he's got to win Pennsylvania. He really does. Well, Trump does too. I mean, whoever wins it, it's critical that one of them wins, of course. Actually, there's 2 polls this week. Let's see. It's within the margin of error. The Fox News poll of 1,000 registered voters say Trump leads Biden by 2 percentage points. That's the Fox poll. Then there's the Emerson College poll. And this is voters in Pennsylvania. Trump leads Biden 52% of the voters to 48% for Biden. So that's a bigger margin. In any case, it looks right now like it'll be a close race. And I remember this, and whenever they say close race, of course we remember 2016. Oh, Hillary's going to win. Oh, shoo-in. Of course, Trump won. But Reagan and Carter in 1980, they up until the polls opened, they said it's going to be close. It's going to be close. It's like 2-3%. Reagan won in a landslide. What did he win? Like 48 states? Something like that. It was 48 or 49. 49. Yeah. So maybe. Hey, from my mouth to God's ears, that should happen. So we'll see. But just a couple of surveys and shows that Trump is slightly ahead. Let's talk to Frank in Brigantine. Frank, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John, to you and your listeners. Listen, let's say that I am willing, which I'm not, but let's say that I am willing to accept and put up with high inflations, interest rates, the weaponization of the IRS, DOJ, the push to green, and so many other things.
Yes.
The one thing that every single American should not tolerate or consider voting for Trump for Biden is due to the fact that he has willingly done it over and over again, leaving Americans behind in foreign lands in time of them needing to be evacuated.
Yes.
Leaving one behind is too many, never mind the hundreds that he has left behind.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We kind of forget about that. Yeah, we kind of forget about that. Yeah.
To me, that nullifies him immediately from the presidency, and no one should vote for him just on that one issue alone.
I agree.
And one more thing. The one thing that I do disagree with President Trump is the wall, because my wall would be taller and deeper, and it will be electrified. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thanks, Frank. Well, the electrified thing, that'll get shot down in the courts. So they got to do something. I mean, I got to talk about this Texas thing. Governor Greg Abbott. He's one of my heroes. We'll talk about that in a minute. First, let's get back to Bob in Cape May, or in Florida. He's in Florida. Come on.
Hey, good morning, John. Look, a couple things there. Governor Kemp can't fire Willis right now because Georgia law is different from Florida law.
Yeah.
Florida law gives the governor the power to fire rogue district attorneys, like the liberal swine that was in Tampa. Governor DeSantis axed them, got rid of them because he was letting criminals do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But anyway, there is legislation now in the Georgia legislature that will give Kemp that ability to fire Fani Willis. So that's good news. And just the thing, just point about the election here. So Biden apparently, and this is early yet, but they apparently are not focusing as much on Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada because they're too far behind. The liberal Democrats want to reestablish the blue wall. That's Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Now, the election's going to probably come down to Wisconsin because Michigan and Pennsylvania, unfortunately, their laws in terms of being able to cheat are still pretty much the same as 2020. Wisconsin's a little different, and that's where Trump has his real chance. It's really going to come down to Wisconsin, it looks like. But anyway, that's for the future here. What we're going to deal with now in the next few weeks, and I want to talk about this, is the influx now from the disastrous country of Haiti.
Oh, yeah.
And, John, Haiti is the poorest nation in the world.
Yeah, it really is.
Haiti also has the longest black-ruled government, I believe, in the modern world, okay? It's been a disaster there, okay? And our immigration policy is so screwed up. We are not we're not bringing in people that are going to benefit this country. I mean, Trump has made this point countless times. What we're bringing in from Haiti now, I mean, it's just going to be, more problems coming in this country. And I don't really need to, in the short time we have, to go over all the problems that they're going to bring in, but there are many. And, I'm really curious to see what Governor DeSantis is going to be able to do. Because if any governor is going to stand up to that invasion, it's going to be DeSantis. More so than Greg Abbott. Yeah, he's doing something now, and he's trying to do something now. But had Governor DeSantis been in power in Texas, I don't think we'd have this big problem. He would have had the Texas National Guard in position years ago.
Yeah,
and I'm just it's going to be interesting to see politically how much pushback Biden is going to give DeSantis with regard to this Haitian invasion. What is he going to do? Let's just see what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Is he going to transport? See, what's going to happen is the Coast Guard is going to intercede, right? They're going to, and DeSantis is going to establish some kind of barrier with the police and his fish and wildlife, naval resources. But what happens when these immigrants that are intercepted? What happens? They're going to be given the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard going to bring them into Florida, or are they going to put them at Guantanamo? Let's see what happens.
Yeah, okay? Yeah, that's right.
Because they put them in Guantanamo. Okay, once they land here in Florida, they're in. They're done. I mean, they're not going back. But it's just a tragedy. The Clintons have spent all this money in Haiti. We have given them billions and billions of dollars, and it's still a disaster.
Yeah, which, you have to question the whole foreign policy. I mean, you just throw money at these people, and time again, that proves nothing.
John, there's a candidate that I supported. He was the original America First candidate, and it was Pat Buchanan. All right, everything Trump is about, he I'm not saying he copied it from Pat Buchanan, but this is all Pat Buchanan's policies. Okay, and Pat Buchanan would have ended all foreign aid, all of it.
Yeah.
All right, and that includes, and this is where he got in trouble with a lot of Jewish Americans. This is where he got in trouble with the American Israeli Political Action Committee, who's very strong. This is where Buchanan got in big trouble because he wanted to end all foreign aid, and that included the billions that go to Israel every year. Israel gets $24 billion a year every year, and they are our strong ally. Yes, we should be on the side of Israel, but it's a lot of money.
It sure is. It sure is.
And Israel's a very, very successful country. I just don't understand. And I'm not picking on Israel, but our foreign aid is ridiculous. We have Americans that are in trouble.
Yeah, and $24 billion goes to them. Bob,
every year.
Thanks for the call, Bob. We'll get back to the callers in just a moment. I did want to talk about this Texas and the border crisis. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, he's my hero, has consistently clashed with the Biden administration on the border policies, as you probably know. Just some of the initiatives, and I'm going to focus on this one because there's a bunch of them, but we don't have time for that. But Operation Lone Star. This is Abbott's multi-billion-dollar border security initiative. The initiative was launched in March 2021 when Abbott declared an emergency disaster over illegal immigration and cartel drug trafficking. That gave him the authority to deploy thousands of National Guard troops and state troopers to the border. Abbott frequently claims the operation is successful, pointing to migrant arrests and seized illicit narcotics. You wonder why, and you know, you hear a lot of backlash about Texas. Why don't more states follow this? Are they Bidenized? Probably. But we're hoping Trump gets in there and straightens this whole mess out. It's ridiculous. Thousands pouring in every day. It's just ridiculous. Let's talk to John in Ocean City. John, good morning. Welcome back.
Yes, I just want to say that that leftist propaganda, which is broadcasted through the mainstream media, has worn people down, but we cannot afford to lose heart at this point. We can't, even though, yes, a lot of us have been worn down by all this nonsense, but we can't throw in the towel just yet. There's an Eastern Orthodox priest. He left Iraq and he's now living in Australia. He says, if you want to question me on whether I know about tyrants or not, ask me all the questions. I know all about tyrants. And he said, once America falls, then you're going to see the real tyrannical powers come into play. That's what he said. And he says President Trump, it's vital that President Trump's reelected. Eastern Christians, they just can't figure out why we're divided against each other religiously. You know, we should be one. We have one shepherd. We have one shepherd called Jesus Christ. You know, named Jesus Christ. It doesn't matter if you're an Eastern Orthodox or Roman Catholic or a Protestant. We have the same shepherd. He does not tell us to be dumb sheep. We're his sheep, but we're not supposed to be dumb. He says we should be wise as serpents, but harmless as doves. We should know what's going on around us. But truth is never well received. Go back to the days of the old-timey Hebrew prophets. They were stoned to death. They were killed for telling the truth, whether people want to hear it or not. But we are in a dire situation here. But lukewarm Christians, just as myself, and I've been lukewarm, I admit it. I asked Brother Doc Marquis, who was raised in Luciferian witchcraft. He cut his arm open with athame, the occult knife that's used by the witches of the left-hand path that believe in Lucifer, and also witches, Wiccans, or which are right-hand path, and Satanists. He cut his arm open. He dipped a quill pen in blood and wrote his name in the book of death. And he said, I went from being a sold-out slave of Satan to a born-again child of the King. And I asked Doc, I said, in the first chapter of the book of Revelation, it talks about the lukewarm church, the Laodicean age, is where we're in now, and the rise of the Antichrist. In chapter 13, it says, are they related to each other? It says, of course they're related to each other. We made so much progress because of Christians that have fallen asleep. So it is time to wake up. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the call. Did he speak slower that time? Maybe he'll get it someday. Who knows? Well, he'll keep trying. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. 609-407-1450. We're going to talk to Craig after the break, and maybe we'll talk to you. We got a couple of open lines, so good time to jump in here. 609-407-1450. Still have a lot of show left here on the program. 609-407-1450. Just wanted to mention, this was not in the local paper. I saw it from another source. Former Atlantic City Councilman M.D. Hossein Morshed pleaded guilty Wednesday in Camden Federal Court to falsifying a voter registration application that led to a fraudulent vote being cast to benefit his 2019 primary campaign. Okay. Scheduled for sentencing July 16th. But again, former Atlantic City Councilman M.D. Hossein Morshed, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, pleaded guilty Wednesday in the Camden Federal Court, falsifying voter registration. Okay. Another one bites the dust. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Coming back with more show after these words.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently number one when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. Or, if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusOfAtlanticCity.com.
And we are back here on Talk with a Purpose. Again, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. 609-407-1450. Let's talk to Craig in Northfield. Craig, welcome back.
Well, good morning, John.
Good morning.
And I got to tell you, I'm a little surprised that a couple people aren't talking. I was wondering if I could play a little clip real quick. It's clean.
And what is it?
Well, we're going to go back to the her investigation.
Oh.
Can we play a little clip?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
I did not share classified information. I did not share it. With my ghostwriter, I did not. Guarantee you did not.
We also in which Mr. Biden read classified information aloud to his ghostwriter. And that should tell you everything.
What do you think there, John? Was that a good clip?
Yeah, it was a good clip.
Well, I wanted to start with that because, her looked a little conflicted, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did you see him?
4 hours worth, huh?
4 hours worth. What did we get out of that?
Probably nothing.
No, we got that Biden got $8 million for an advance on a book deal.
That's right.
Right? So let's just talk about that. Well, they said there was no intent. There was no reason why you would want those documents. There was no purpose whatsoever. Let me ask you a question. Do you think $8 million is a purpose or a reason?
Yeah. That buys a lot of properties.
Yeah, but then we also, this her guy, he used to be involved, in my opinion. I think I got it in my deep tinfoil hat group. He was either with Mueller Law Firm or the Comey Law Firm before. Do you understand how all this plays in?
Yeah.
Did you also know that he resigned?
No.
Her? Yeah,
No.
that was it.
Oh.
Did you see how disgusted he looked?
No, I didn't see that. Yeah, but I can believe that he was. Yeah, sure.
Well, I have to tell you, in looking at his mannerisms and the way he conducted himself, I felt that, in my opinion, that he didn't like what he had to do, which he said wasn't exonerating Biden. Did you hear that too?
Yeah, yeah.
So what did he say? He was too old to go to trial, but not too old to run the country.
Yes.
Too old to go to trial, but not too old to push the button.
Oh.
Where are we now? So I just wanted to add this in here because this was a big week. So you can see the double, standard of justice here because we also had Georgia and then we also had Liz Cheney come out of the woodwork again, right?
And what did she have to offer?
Well, she didn't have anything to offer, but what they found was some of the tapes of that expedition that they had, which was actually, for the January 6th, investigation, right?
Yeah.
So what happened there? She got caught in a big story, and what did they do? They ruined all the tapes, right? They got rid of them?
Yeah.
And just like, Hillary Clinton would do. You get my point here?
Yeah, yeah.
We're okay.
They learned that from Richard Nixon.
Well, not really, because Richard Nixon, he didn't take a hammer or bleach bit.
Well, that's true, yeah.
And Richard Nixon was the one that got impeached. And Cheney was the one that was trying to impeach Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
The Trump derangement syndrome.
Yes.
I'll leave you with that, John.
Okay.
Have a good
You too. Thanks for the call, Craig. Bob in Upper Township. Bob, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hi, John. I'm a first-time caller.
Thank you.
I enjoy your show. I listen to it every Saturday morning. It's
Thank you.
one of my highlights. But what I want to talk about is I've heard on the news that we're going to soon have a census. And with illegal immigration, putting them in the blue states, when they count the census, that's the number of people we get congressmen.
Yes.
So if they're loading up the blue states with illegals and they count them and they get more congressmen, won't they control the country, the Congress?
Yes.
I never hear nobody talk about that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think, isn't the census every 10 years? Yeah. So we're probably 6 years away from a census, but that gives them plenty of time, gives the Democrats plenty of time to load up, if you will.
Yeah, it's a serious problem.
Yeah, it is.
And
I agree.
And then you talk about Haiti, like they're worried about the southern border. He's flying them in by the like Obama did with the Muslims. He's flying the Haitians in and spotting them around the country.
Yeah. All the more reason to get rid of them.
All the more reason. And look at these guys, 8 more months.
Yeah. Jeez.
Okay. Well,
thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate the kind words. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. 609-407-1450. This is justice, really, justice being served. Did you see where the father of a Michigan school shooter was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter? And this happened Thursday. And this is the second conviction against the teen's parents. James Crumley was joined by Jennifer Crumley, the parents, as the cause of the killing of 4 students at Oxford High School in 2021. And, you know, I read this, and I'm thinking about, remember I guess it was Connecticut somewhere, and how many children were killed there? And the mother gave him a gun, and she didn't get charged. So I'm wondering if they can go back and charge other parents. But that's as it should be, because I understand in reading this story further that the father gave him a gun, and it was left out, and the kid took it, and the rest is history, as they say. Dan in Linwood. Dan, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John. I want to talk about our esteemed leader of the Jewish party, even though I'm not Jewish, Chuck Schumer.
Yes.
Now, Chuck Schumer, he does all these little things, like they have 6 ways to Sunday to get to you, and Kavanaugh, Gorsuch, you're going to feel the whirlwind. And now Israel, there's a red line, and you're going to pretty much do what we say. And his most impressive thing was keeping Bob Menendez on so he could still control the majority, while the House couldn't wait to get rid of Santos and lose another person. And then they lost that vote with the 4 votes that went against them, the Republican votes. So it's amazing how stupid the Republicans could be.
Yes.
Going against a snake like Schumer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this Fannie Willis thing. They have all kind of stuff going on. The investigations that's going to come out. They're going to look. They're going to look for perjury charges, and they're going to get her.
Yeah, probably. I hope they do.
Well, the texts become public. First they're going to become property of the Georgia Senate. They're going to have subpoena power, and they're going to look at all the texts. And I think the texts will tell the story.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
A lot of stuff they're saying about lawfare and everything else, all these different cases. none of this is an accident. These are terrible people.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that, too.
John, have a good morning.
You, too. Thanks for the call. 609-407-1450, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. But what do you think about that? James Crumley and his wife, James and Jennifer. Model citizens. I mean, can you imagine just, leave the gun out. And they knew the kid had emotional problems. So, I mean, what are you thinking? Are you thinking, I mean, I don't know what you're thinking. But the first thing I would do, if I had a kid with emotional problems, get him some help. Don't stick your head in the sand and, oh, well, that's all right. And then leave the gun out. 609-407-1450. We are wide open here with open lines. So if you want to chime in. What was I was going to talk about this. Here's a survey that you're going to love, and I do not believe this. I do not believe that this is a fact. But survey says, I sound like Richard Dawson here. Survey says nearly 3/4 of U.S. teens say they feel happy or peaceful when they don't have their phones with them. What? This is according to a new report from the esteemed Pew Research Center. Despite that, ready for this? Pew also found that despite the positive associations with going phone-free, most teens have not limited their phone or social media use. Really? So they're at peace without their phone, but they're not giving it up. You know, my grandson is 12. If he is not on the phone or the iPad or the computer with his video game, he's sleeping, okay? That's all he does. So I find it hard to believe. And everywhere I go, everywhere, you see people and they're sitting, and this is especially true in the doctor's office. They're like this. They're sitting there, and I'm holding the phone up now, and they're not paying attention to anything but their phone. And the world comes to an end. Wait a minute, I got to check this out on Facebook. Oh, I don't know. A guy said to me, I was sitting in the office of my physical therapist, and a guy said to me, I can't believe you're one of the few people in New Jersey that's not on your cell phone. I said, well, what do I have to be? Like I'm saying, well, why? Why do I have to be on my cell phone? Because everybody else is? It's unbelievable. And to get a person under 30 to talk to you on the phone. Do you ever do that? You call them up, and then they'll text you and say, what'd you want? Well, I called you for a reason. Oh, it just boggles my mind. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. The consensus is this morning that, and it's been that way for many, many weeks here on the show. The consensus is we got to get rid of Biden. That's all there is to it. I just want like one person to come on here and say, like, give me a reason to vote for Biden. Anything. I can't think of any. The way he's handled the economy, the way he's handled inflation, the way he's handled immigration. And I'll tell you again, $1,000 more for the same goods as it cost you 3 years ago. That's all you need to know. I mean, what was the inflation when Trump was in office? 2%, 3%? And then right away it went up. And now, you know, the economy is just, I don't know what it is. But, well, inflation is down. No, it's not. No, it's not. And, you know, the core inflation is down, but they don't include energy and food. So what is it? You still got inflation. That's what you got. But yet there's going to be those. Oh, the articles, and I made reference to it earlier. Oh, Biden, keep the energy going. Biden, he's brought down drug prices. Huh? I mean, I'm a senior, and I pay a little bit for drug, but Biden didn't do that. I was that way before. Oh, he's kept the drug prices down. Okay. What about the rest of the economy? It's in bad shape. Really is. 609-407-1450. We started the program by talking about the proposed TikTok ban. And it looks like the TikTok ban, is it going to be constitutional? Now, I think the fact that a foreign company is in charge of this. It's a Chinese company. And if it were China and they had an American company over there and this was happening, they wouldn't put up with this. But yet we do here in America. The question is probably it will end up with the Supreme Court. And the question is, should we allow foreign countries to own a website that is very much dominant in the U.S.? Now, here's some good news. Supposedly, Steve Mnuchin, who is the former Treasury Secretary under Donald Trump, he's attempting to put together a group to buy TikTok, which means it would no longer be a foreign company. Good. And the company is, the Chinese company is called ByteDance. As Mnuchin said, would China, and I said this, would China allow a U.S. company to own something this popular in their country? No. No, certainly not. So we'll see where that goes. But more to come on that. 609-407-1450. It is Talk with a Purpose, and we're getting down to the wire here. If you want to jump in here and chime in on anything we're talking about, Biden, the border crisis, anything else, 609-407-1450. Back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
Chances are you've tasted the delicious fruits and vegetables from B.F. Mazzio, but didn't know it. That's because B.F. Mazzio has a huge wholesale division that delivers to area restaurants, schools, hospitals, and more. If you own a restaurant or run a commercial kitchen, call B.F. Mazzio's wholesale division at 609-641-6608. That's 609-641-6608. And don't forget B.F. Mazzio at 601 New Road in Northfield. Call 609-641-6608.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. This afternoon's going to be mostly sunny and mild with a high 63. Partly cloudy, mild this evening with a low 46. Windy, mild tomorrow with times of clouds and sunshine, the high 66 to wrap the weekend. When you get back at it Monday, breezy and cooler with times of clouds and sun, the high 52. Tuesday looks windy with times of clouds and sun, the high 48. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. If you miss any of our show today, you catch the replay tomorrow. Harry's on 3 to 5, and then I'm on 5 to 7. What a concept. The best of both of us. Hey, why don't we call it that, Chris? The best of both of us. Oh, we need a think tank here. That's what we need.
It's a bad sitcom.
That's right. The best of both of us. 609-407-1450. Let's talk to George in AC. George, good morning. Welcome back.
Thank you. You need a think tank? Well, you made a mistake of answering the phone. You're not getting a think tank now.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, John, you know the I don't remember the name of the TV show, but it was like where you go down and you could pick one of the doors, pick door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3. Do you remember that?
I think it was Let's Make a Deal, wasn't it?
I don't know. Okay, but I know there was one kind of a show. Yeah, I mean, come on down. I know that's
it.
Price is
Well,
Right.
well, that's Price is Right, but no, I'm pretty sure it was Let's Make a Deal. Yeah.
Okay, let's make a deal. Okay, here we go. Let's make a deal. We got 3 doors. Okay, this is only because you put out the clarion call. So here we go. We got 3 doors. Okay.
Yes.
One. I'm not going to tell you which door is which. You're going to pick the doors.
Okay.
One of the doors is about TikTok. Another one of the doors is about why would you vote for Biden? You asked that. So there's 2 things that you asked for, right? Since
Okay.
in the past few minutes, right? So the two of the doors are that, and the third door is a grab bag. Okay, and in that door is jumbled up and full of a whole bunch of things that are in my mind. Okay, so pick a door. What door do you want to pick?
Oh, geez. I think I'm going to pick the door of why would anybody vote for Biden?
There you go. That's the one I would have hoped you picked. This is an easy one.
Yeah.
This is one where if you don't know what elder abuse is, okay, if you vote for Biden, you'll have a much better understanding of what elder abuse is all about.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, because that wife of his, forget about that this is Obama 3.0, or that there's a staff that pushes people away when they want to ask questions, or any other shenanigans that are going on. The bottom line is, you put it all together, it comes down to one thing, elder abuse. Okay? Anybody that doesn't see that this is, I in a way, a very tiny little way, I feel sorry for the guy. I don't feel sorry for him in a real way because he's a scumbag, okay? I mean, but the bottom line is that when it comes to the part about elder abuse, I feel bad for him.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, I do too. But, you know...
Okay, now you got two more doors.
Oh.
Okay, we got a TikTok door and we got a grab bag door. Which one do you want?
TikTok.
Oh, you got the TikTok. Okay, there you go. All right. TikTok. Not only is, what's his name, Mnuchin?
Yes, Mnuchin, yeah.
All right, not only is Mnuchin putting together a group, there's this other guy, what they call him, the wonderful guy, you know, the Mr. Wonderful, right?
Yes.
You know who I mean?
No. Is it Jeff Yass? Is it him?
No, the one that's on the... where people come and they show their products and so on and so forth. And
Shark Tank?
Yeah, Shark Tank. Mr. Wonderful.
Yes.
He's a big money guy too.
Yeah.
He's also putting together a group. So you got 2 groups. Okay, and I'm sure that there's more.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I guess it comes down to is this thing constitutional? But you want to know something? You know, and I, whatever. We know that it's a bad thing for the United States to have a spy agency.
Yes.
Communist, whatever. Okay,
yes.
we know it's bad, right?
Yes.
Okay. I can guarantee you one thing: you're never going to get to the constitutional issue. You know why?
Because they're gonna sell it.
No, they're not going to sell it. Okay, I'm not going to make you keep guessing.
Okay.
The reason why is because Chuck Schumer isn't even going to allow it to come to the floor of the Senate.
Why is that?
It's never going to see the light of day.
Why is that?
Because Chuck Schumer is a schmuck and doesn't care about this country, and all he cares about is his own power. And part of his power, the same way with McConnell and a whole bunch of others down there in Washington, care more about themselves than they do about us. And Chuck Schumer is the leader of the pack.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a Marxist saying, I don't even know, I'm not going to get it right. Okay. But something about the communists won't have to come and take over America, whatever. It'll be that the Americans will buy their own rope to hang themselves. Okay. You know, I don't know the exact saying, but guess what? Today, it's coming really to light. Okay. We are buying our own rope. From China, we're buying it, okay, and we're making the noose. China's making the noose for us, and we're putting it around. No, China's putting it around our neck, and we're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, and Biden and his crew, they're the leader of the pack.
Yep, they are. They are.
Okay, so we got an unbelievable amount of people down there in Washington, Republicans and Democrats. They go down there, and all of a sudden, they act like they care about us, okay? They go down there, and I don't care if they're Republicans, Democrats, green, purple, black, white, red person. I don't care what they are. When they get down there, hey, there's plenty of exceptions to what I'm saying. There's many, many decent ones. So, really, let's face it, there are decent people in this world.
Yeah.
But down there, the overwhelming majority of them go down there as an average person, income-wise, shall we say, and within 2 years, they're multimillionaires.
That's right.
Okay? They got families in the lobbies and so on and so forth. So we are today facing a crisis never seen in this country ever.
That's
in the
right.
history of this country.
That's right.
This is a silent war that's bigger and worse than our Civil War. Okay? And people don't see it. How many people, John, do you think understand that we have been at war with the communist Chinese for at least a decade or more, and they know what they're doing?
Yeah,
okay?
That's true. They do.
Right?
They do.
So this is it. That's why this election is so important. This election, hey, Linda from Absecon, she called last week, I think it was, maybe the week before.
She called this week.
Okay, wait, but when? No, I'm talking about I know she did, but on a call that she made either last week or the week before, and there was almost a tear in her eye coming out across the radio. At least to me, it did. Okay, where that if something like we don't win this election this time, it's the end of America. Okay,
I agree with that.
I
agree with that.
I'm telling you right now, I genuinely believe it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's over. Okay, that's why I say, and I've said it a couple of times on your show in the past couple of weeks, okay? If we, the people, we the Republicans, we the Democrats, we the liberals, we the people that really care about this country, don't find friends and others, 2 or 3 of them or whatever, to get out there and vote for Donald J. Trump this time, it's not because he's my idol. He's not because he's my king, okay? Because I told you, I believe he is the only man in the entire United States of America or on the face of this earth that can save this country today.
I agree.
Nobody comes close.
I agree. George, thanks a lot for the call. Yeah, when you put it that way, that's it. Bob and Cape May. Bob, good morning. Welcome back.
Hey, John. Hey, look, Tammy Murphy, if she gets elected, okay, you imagine this there. Phil Murphy, of course, is going to be the puppeteer in all likelihood, right?
Yes.
But it just illustrates the gap, the chasm between conservatives and the far leftists that have taken over the Democrat Party in this country to think that Phil Murphy is presidential material, given what he's done to the state of New Jersey, and he's proud of it.
Yeah,
and these wacko leftist Democrats, they're proud of it. So they're thrilled with New Jersey having the worst balance sheet in the country, with all our unfunded pension mandates and the huge debt that we have in New Jersey. That's wonderful. The highest tax rates in the country. That's wonderful too. And we see what works, right? We see what works because look where I am in Florida now. Yeah, there's the budget surplus for Florida is an incredible, John. I think we've got like a $30 billion surplus in this state. All right, and our tax rate is half of what it is in New York State, and probably close to that in New Jersey, right? I mean, per capita, what we spend here. So, the formula that these leftists have for the country is disastrous, and we see it playing out in the blue states. They're all a basket case. California, Illinois, New Jersey, New York. People can't live in these states. You had a fellow that wrote a book called Untenable about the disaster. That's right. Right, of the big cities, right?
That's right.
And you just shake your head. The answers are there. Empirical evidence, experience has told us what the answers are. We see them, okay? And the formula that the Democrat leftists have for this country doesn't work. It doesn't work to get people out of poverty. It doesn't work for big cities that used to be livable, like Philadelphia. We grew up there. Yeah. We had clean, safe neighborhoods. They weren't a thing of like centuries ago. It was decades ago. Right? Yeah. Not that long ago. Yeah. Right. But the leftists they base their political agenda on an ideology. Conservatives, we base ours. Yes, there's an ideological aspect to it, but it's also on lived experience, on what works. And we see what works.
Yeah, well, that's right. By the way, I was in Philadelphia yesterday. It was my old neighborhood, and I just shook my head, and I said, I just can't believe it. Like it's just beyond, beyond words. I
drove through the city last summer, John, to visit my parents' gravesite, and same thing. Yeah, I was shaking my head, block after block. Yeah. I got off I-95 was jammed. I got off on Callow Hill Street.
Oh boy! Oh,
right? Made a right-hand turn.
You saw some things.
No, I made a right-hand turn down 5th Street, right?
Oh,
going north, right? Oh. Going toward Girard Avenue,
I know what you saw.
All the way to Wyoming Avenue. Okay.
For those who don't know, that was not the high rent district that Bob was going through. Okay.
No, but John, I'll tell you what that neighborhood I grew up in was a safe neighborhood.
Sure it was.
They weren't rich people. They probably had less income than a lot of the people that live there now.
Yeah.
But they kept their houses nice. There wasn't crazy crime going on. It was a fun neighborhood for a kid, you know. I went out. I was a 10-year-old kid. Now, my parents worked all the time, and they had to work, okay? They had to work. We had a butcher store, but they had to work. But I was a 10-year-old kid. I could go out at night till 8, 9 o'clock at night and play with my friends.
Try that now.
Nope. Yeah.
Oh, all right, Bob.
All right,
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. 609-407-1450. We maybe have time for one or two more calls real quick here on Talk with a Purpose. 609-407-1450. Forgive me and Bob for going down memory lane, but it is true. It's just where you grew up, how you grew up. It's just not the same. I mean, it's really horrible. That's all I can say. Remember, we'll end with this. Speaking of Florida, and speaking of, remember the Don't Say Gay law, which had nothing to do with gay. That was the law in Florida that caused a great deal of controversy. A settlement was reached this past week. Now students and teachers can discuss sexual orientation and gender identity in Florida classrooms, provided it's not part of the curriculum. Huh? In other words, well, we're going to talk about, but it's not in your book. We're going to talk about gender identity. With third graders, well, I guess they reached a settlement because somebody sued, and this stuff is it's just unbelievable how you have to get laws passed and then somebody sues. And so the settlement clarifies what is allowed in Florida classrooms following the passage 2 years ago of the law prohibiting instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity. And that's in early grades. So it's, I think, grade K through third. So now this supposedly clears things up. So you can talk about it. So let me get this straight. You can talk about it, but it's not in the instruction book, and it's not part of the curriculum. So I don't want some teacher talking, okay, children, now we're going to, I'll go back to my grandson. He's 12. He thinks gender orientation is a video game. Okay? I mean, and he's 12. So how could they discuss this with any sense of normalcy? That it's not normal to discuss gender orientation and sexual identity. Are you a boy or are you a girl? You could be a girl if you are a boy. What? That's the ridiculousness of this ruling. But to appease those who are on the liberal side, they do it. It just never ceases to amaze me. But if we got anything out of today's show, if we got anything, it's we got to vote for Trump to save this country from Biden, from the Democrats, from the liberals, and from anything else that we see. And that, believe it or not, is going to put the wraps on another edition of Talk with a Purpose. Don't forget, we're here every Saturday from 9 till noon, WPG, Talk Radio 95.5. And you can also hear us on 1450 AM. And you can also hear us online, WPGTalkRadio.com. And don't forget, if you miss any of today's show or, it's Wednesday afternoon and you want to listen to some radio talk show, okay, if that's the case, that wasn't that funny, but I guess Chris thought it was funny. You Google John DeMasi podcast and all the shows come up. And with that, we say, I'm John DeMasi. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Chris Coleman, our program director and producer. Thanks to you, our audience, because without you, there's no me. I say that every week, and it's true. We'll do it all over again next Saturday, 9 till noon. Talk with a Purpose, WPG, Talk Radio 95.5. You take care.
The preceding program was paid for and presented by John DeMasi.